mm, public service announcement for the vinyl community. Always wear gloves when handling your precious collector's items. Um, I watched Tunage Down Under video a minute ago, and I noticed that he's very particular about handling his records, and good on him for that. So I'm the same. I like to wear gloves, to for this rare collector's item in particular. Mm. Ronnie Burns, Age of Consent. This was a big hit in Australia. Um, Written by Terry Britton, who I do believe was in the Twilights. Yeah, pretty sure he was. Yeah, Age of Consent, big hit. There was a movie at the same time that came out called The Age of Consent with James Mason, famous English actor, in it. And see, there's two reasons for doing this. Actually, this is just spur of the moment shit. But once I got this out, and then now it all starts to flow, I can connect two stories to this record. This is the later spin, the orange and black, which replaced the red and white. So this would have been '68. I think that's when the film came out. Famous for being one of the movies that had a couple of amazing nude scenes in it. A very good film, actually, extremely good movie, set up in North Queensland in the old days, and he's an English painter that comes out for peace and quiet and ends up bumping into some sort of beachcomber girl there. Say hello. Hello, everybody. Look at me. I'm so cute. Yeah, and as they say, as she was called at the time, a gentleman's crumpet, Helen Mirren, was in the film. I think it was her first movie, possibly her first. Beautifully shot up in North Queensland, where I lived a couple of times. Yeah, Joan, great film, great book. Yeah, fantastic. She makes her appearance in the nude, and she had a body on her, I'll tell you now. The funny thing is that the new underwater nude scenes by another female with a fantastic figure was actually Kathy Trout. She was. We had these two poms that moved into our street, and they had some kids. I was friends with the boy, but Kathy was the daughter. She was a real looker, and she was the I think the female deep water diving champion of the world at that time. She without free form, no aqualung or anything like that. And there's some beautiful underwater nude scenes in it, and it's not Helen Mirren, obviously. It was Kathy Trout, my neighbour. She literally lived straight across the road, two doors down that way. And every time she'd walk up when she'd get the bus back and walk down the street, you'd see all the blinds going like this, me included. All the young boys would be going, "Whoa!" She was a doll. Yeah, Kathy Trout. And Helen Mirren, Age of Consent, Ronnie Burns. Ronnie Burns was in a band called The Flies, Flies. And then Melbourne lad. I saw him. Oh yes, of course. And then the Bee Gees connection. Now I met the Bee Gees on the train, going from Miranda or Caringbah. It would have been Caringbah to Guyamere, the area I grew up, there's only one or two stops. It was a long time ago. It had to be late '65 or possibly early '66 because I think I stopped going to guitar lessons probably in early '66. It could be '65. I actually met the Bee Gees. I mean, they were famous in that they were on TV since the late '50s, early '60s. So we were used to seeing these, big buck-tooth looking, chipmunk looking creatures on TV all the time. But they never had any hits until Wine and Women was a minor hit. I've got an original Oz copy here. They go for a shitload a day, those early Bee Gees singles. And Wine and Women, no, I haven't got, no, I haven't. I did have it. I actually had it at the time. No, it disappeared. I had a whole bunch of shitload of 45s were stolen back in the 60s. That was one of them. It's gone. Great track. First really good track they ever did. Yeah, I actually met the Bee Gees before they had their big hit Spicks and Specks and before they went overseas. But I jumped on the train with my little acoustic guitar and there were these three guys sitting opposite. And I went, shit, I knew them straight away. I went, that's the guys on TV. And we just started chatting. They saw me with the guitar. So we just had a bit of a chat, because I had the guitar in my hand. And they were nice guys. So that's funny, isn't it? We've gone from John D in Melbourne, watching his video and enjoying it. And I thought I'll just pull out a single, and out pops this for some reason. Age of Consent. Great track, by the way. Excellent pop song. Terry Britton, he wrote some great pop songs for other people back in the 60s. Great song, great movie. Helen Mirren, Kathy Trout go to the Bee Gees. And then Ronnie Burns, I actually got to see. I saw one of the last Masters Apprentices gigs before they headed off to Abbey Road in London to record their famous album or two there. And so we were there to see the Masters Apprentices. It was at Wanda Surf Club on Cronulla Beach, south of Sydney, where I grew up. And the support act was Ronnie Burns, and he came he was old school. That sort of style of pop star had died out. The Masters Apprentices were sort of friends with Ronnie Burns and a lot of the others at that time because they all ended up in Melbourne together. That's where the scene was at that one stage there in the 60s. Melbourne was the place to be. And so Ronnie Burns, and he was still doing the, a bit like Bon Scott in the Valentines, where they all wear these velvet outfits and stuff. And that time was on the way out. Even the Masters used to dress like that, but they'd already started to turn a bit more leather looking, They got a leather image in '69. That's when we saw them. I think it was early '69. And so I was with my mates and this pommy bastard, Dave Kent. His speciality was shitting in girls' handbags, if they go off to the toilet. Anyway, I don't want to go into that. But he's a really funny guy, but he had this thing about shitting, any opportunity, he'd do it. Dave Kent. And so Dave Kent's idea was, he said, before we went, he said, let's take a pile of rotten tomatoes and that. And I didn't know what it was about. I didn't really care. But when Ronnie Burns jumped out, he's sort of acting like a pop star. So we all started throwing these rotten tomatoes, and he was getting splattered with them. And it was funny. We were so awful when we were teenagers. And anyway, but years later, I found out that he was like the highest level black belt thing in karate. He could have killed us. Oh my God. And the Masters were absolutely awesome live at that stage. Doug Ford on guitar. And anyway, it's waffling. I'm going, just remember, everybody, to always use gloves when you're handling your precious bloody collector's items. And Mariva Dirty, bye now.